Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2024 action horror film Werewolves. The film is directed by Steve C. Miller and it stars Frank Grillo, Katrina Law, we have Effens Hedra, James Michael Cummings and Lou Diamond Phillips. Right, okay, the film focuses on 12 months previously there was a supermoon that turned millions of people into werewolves in an instant. And as you could imagine, chaos ensued. So the film focuses on 12 months later. It is the day leading up to the next supermoon that they are expecting that evening. They have laid some preparations out. Frank Grillo's character Wesley is a scientist who is working on how to counteract this. His family, who he's looking after his brother died 12 months previously, he's kind of helped them set up the house to make it fully defendable, to try and keep werewolves out while he goes to work and tries to figure out the best way to stop the transformations. The supermoon happens again, and as you could imagine, things don't go particularly well, and he has to kind of fight his way back to his family in order to keep them safe. Right, what are my thoughts on Werewolves? Well, I've actually been quite looking forward to checking this film out. I think probably like many of you, I saw the trailer when it first came out and I was a bit like, ooh, this is a pretty cool idea. This could work. This could be a lot of fun. And, it is. The film is definitely, a fun watch. It's got some good ideas going on in it. Do I think it all works? No. I think it's one of those films that has got a great idea and a great scope, but just couldn't deliver on that, mainly because of the budget and stuff. When you're talking about a worldwide phenomenon of this supermoon turning millions of people into werewolves, running, havoc across the world, killing probably millions, causing absolute chaos. Other than people talking about that event and news reports and stuff, you don't get a sense of how devastating that was here in this film. And personally, I think that would have been a better film. But obviously they couldn't have done that with the budget. Imagine nobody expecting this and a supermoon happens and boom, everybody just turns into werewolves. And and the ones that don't have got to fight for their lives. That's a film, isn't it? And this, essentially is the follow-up to that. 12 months later, we've got another supermoon and supposedly we're a bit more prepared. I never really got that sense that we were prepared here. There was no military on the streets. There was, apparently they developed some kind of cream that you could put on that would protect you from the supermoon that you had to reapply every couple of hours, sort of thing. Why couldn't there'd be military on the streets in tanks and stuff like that, or, to protect them from the moon, or full get-up in gears and helmets so they're not exposed to the moon, protecting the public. There's a lot of... It's one of those films that when you pull on threads, it kind of falls to pieces, the logic of it. So you can only really go into this film, click your brain off a little bit, and try and have fun with it, which is what I decided to do, because as the film started and stuff, I started picking holes in it, and I'm like, oh, stop it. No, just enjoy it. It's not supposed to make sense. It's a werewolf film. And that is definitely the best way to watch this film. And if you can do that, then you'll probably have quite a lot of fun with this. I think the relatively low score I'm seeing for this film on things like IMDb, I think it's a little bit unfair, because it is a good time, this film, and I think they're probably scoring it over the fact that there's very little about this film makes sense, and it feels quite a claustrophobic story. It only really focuses on Frank Grillo's character and his family back home trying to survive, his neighbour, and the people at the place where Frank Grillo works, who have like caged up a lot of people that they expect to turn into werewolves because they did last year. And that's it, really. It doesn't expand beyond that into neighbourhoods and, the millions of people. I think I think they're in downtown LA or something, or the hundreds of thousands of people or whatever. It just feels very claustrophobic in the story that it's telling. And again, that'll be budget constraints, I know. It definitely has a Purge vibe going on in this, and I know Leo mentioned this on his review, and I'd not considered that when I looked at the trailer and stuff, but there is definitely a Purge vibe going on. So if you're a fan of the Purge films, imagine the Purge, but with werewolves, I suppose, and that's a decent comparison to make. The effects, I think, are done pretty well. There's some CGI stuff going on here, but I liked the way the werewolves looked. They looked big, they looked menacing. I like the fact that you could identify them for the most part, who they were. For example, if the person is wearing face paint, as one of them is in the film, and they transform, the werewolf's got face paint on, so you're like, oh, I know who you are. Yeah. So some of them are quite easily identifiable, and I like that, because sometimes in films like this, they all look the same, the werewolves, and you don't know who's who or what's what, sort of thing. So I like that. It was easy to kind of see the person in the werewolf. I thought the action was done pretty well. As Frank Grillo, who I've spoke about many times over the years on this channel, because I've reviewed a lot of stuff that Frank Grillo's done, a lot of it garbage, and I think this last couple of years he's starting to do more worthwhile projects. I personally think it was just in Tulsa King season 2 as well, so he's getting a better exposure, and he's probably getting offered better projects, I suspect. So yeah, for me, I think he suits this type of film. He doesn't get to do an awful lot, of a couple of one-liners here and there, and he suits as much being a scientist as I do. You know what I mean? It's not very believable at all, and I still can't get over the fact that they had 12 months to prepare, and that's the best they could come up with in regards to preparing for, the mass population to turn into werewolves. Basically, put a bit of barbed wire on your fence, people. Put a bit of, lock up your windows and doors, put a bit of barbed wire up, and, cross your fingers, really, because we're not coming to help. You're gonna have to make do yourself. I just think that's quite funny, really. So I do think there's a fun film here underneath all the critique, if you like, that I and others are giving this film. I think it's, especially when you consider, some of the B-movie werewolf films that I've watched over the last 3, 4, 5 years on this channel, this is Oscar-worthy compared to some of them, I have to say. I think there is definitely a fun film here. If you're looking for a werewolf film with a little bit of a difference, a little bit of a budget, some fun, and you're quite prepared to kind of, ignore some of the logic issues that are going on here, I think you could have a good time with this one. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please click the like button. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and I will of course be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.